Everyone. It is a Financial Fraud Friday, and I am Nike Togba with Togba and Associates, a tax planning and advisory firm focused on small business owners and professionals. We help them navigate tax waters so that they can focus on what they do best. And this is my good friend, Miss Kerrina O'Connor.
Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Fraud Fridays. My name is Kerrina O'Connor, the owner and founder of KAKE Financial with a K, where we help millennial business owners with tax problems through strategy, not shame. We are a small virtual service in South Florida, but we can help nationwide. So, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Everything that we say is not advice to you. This is just for educational purposes only. We have not established any um, client professional relationship. So please keep that in mind while you're listening. So I'm going to go back to Nikkei now.
Most of these are opinions, and a
Right.
lot of it is good tea. Today. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Okay. So today, you guys, we are talking about, okay, so we caught wind of this one, and Kerrina and I in the background, we will chit chat about this for hours, or we could anyway, bat it back and forth. So of course we're gonna do that live with you. We're gonna do that. But today's topic is filed $3.5 million in fake returns. Okay. Now this preparer is serving or about to serve, or is she already in there? We'll see. 8 years. 8 years plus another 5 of supervised. What? So she's also she's released or
Supervised release.
supervised. Okay.
Yeah.
So supervised release. Okay, so
Supervised
13
release,
years, baby, of people
basically.
hovering over you, basically. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the background, and then Kerrina and I are going to basically chop this up, bat it back and forth, and then we'll give you guys some tips on what you can do as the taxpayer to guard yourself. Because even though we're talking about a tax professional in this particular instance, sometimes the taxpayers get caught up.
Right.
Also, it is possible, okay, that as a taxpayer, even though the tax preparer was in the wrong, you could also get swept up in fraudulent activity if you are not vigilant, okay?
Mhm.
So let me give you guys some background, okay? This came out Thursday, May 8th, so a little while ago, but from the United States Attorney's Office in Middle District of Georgia, okay? It reads, headline, defendant received a portion of proceeds from client's fraudulent pandemic benefit claims, okay? Out of Macon, Georgia, a tax preparer who admitted to filing more than $3.5 million in fraudulent tax returns tied to a multi-state investigation of COVID-19 pandemic unemployment benefits in a COVID-19 pandemic unemployment benefit scheme in which she received a percentage of ill-gotten gains, was sentenced to serve 8 years in prison for her crime. I will not say the young lady's name because, I'm not going to say her name. I'm not. But of Athens, the young lady of Athens, Georgia, was sentenced to serve 96 months in prison, to be followed by 5 years of supervised release. It goes on to say that Crawford, oops, I said her name. Dang it. Well, I said her last name. Previously pleaded guilty to one count of wire fraud and one count of aiding and assisting in preparing and presenting false income tax returns on November 22nd, 2024. So she pled guilty November 22nd, 2024. She was sentenced on May 8th. A little more background. So you do, after reading that, you have some idea that this had something to do with the COVID-19 funds, which are, a lot of that fraud is catching a lot of people up. But in addition, the way she got caught up really was that there was an investigation, right, Kerrina?
Yes. So there was an investigation, and so much so that an IRS agent, because the IRS does have a criminal investigations unit within it, meaning that they will be undercover and try to figure out what's going on. So there was an investigation where I want to believe that multiple of her clients were all like,
They were
because they're all
texting
going to
her or
do
something.
yeah. So multiple of her clients were getting pulled as far as like audit purposes, and every time they kept seeing her name. So they're like, okay, let's go see what she's doing, because
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
if it's multiple of these clients, there's something ding ding ding, red light, red flag. So
mm-hmm,
they had the criminal investigations unit come out and be undercover in her business and act like a client. And when
right. Okay.
yes, and then when they acted like a client, I think she said the words was saying that the he met her to do her taxes, have his taxes prepared, and then at first he was saying no, he doesn't have anything on the side, any like side work, and he gave
Oh, she
those type of
asked
things.
him. She
Mm-hmm.
asked him if he did any work on the side, and
On the
his
side
initial response was
was
no.
no, and then he came out. The second response was like, "Oh wait, but I did mow the lawn for my aunt a couple times, like or sometimes." And then she was like, "Oh, that's all I need." And now he has a landscaping company.
Off to the races.
Now he has a landscaping company, of which that landscaping company, right? So that's a Schedule C on your
Hmm.
tax return. So he has a Schedule C now from doing his
Yeah.
aunt's work. Like there's no words in there where it said that one his aunt paid him, or that his aunt, like anything of that nature. He could have just been being a good nephew
And mowing the
and
lawn.
mowing the
Yeah.
lawn. But and she took that and ran with it, and it's like, oh no, you have a landscaping business. So
And he
as
provided, that was the other thing, was he provided no
no
income information,
documentation,
no expense information,
nothing.
so no documentation.
Nothing.
And for you guys that don't know, it's fairly, if this is something that you're honestly doing to as a startup to try to maybe transition out of working a job, um rightfully so, sometimes even without an EIN, we can file a Schedule C.
Right.
You're showing the that you are in the process of building a business or creating a business. And based on your responses, that will let us know, okay, we see what's happening here. Now we can go into Schedule C territory.
Right.
You're safe enough to go into that territory. But again, she didn't,
Yeah, she didn't.
she just made it up.
So yeah, basically she made it up, and it included a Schedule C of a loss of $19,373 of loss on that Schedule C from a landscaping business that does not exist. No income,
She
no expensive. $19,000 loss. So that loss created a earned income credit. She also gave him tax credit and the business, the QBI, like the qualified business,
Oh, oh,
which were all affected by. So as a result, he received $12,000 in a refund.
okay. So
Yeah.
basically, he went in there.
Hmm.
I mean, it was the good setup, like,
Yeah.
hey, look, but no, wasn't. Okay,
Yes.
cuz. Did I really set you up or did you set yourself up? I'm sorry.
That's
You probed, right? And the answer was initially no.
yeah.
All right. Well, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You kept pushing. You probed some more and he said, well, I did this. And so you ran with it. So was it a setup? I mean, kind of wasn't a setup. It kind of was just you par for the course, your course anyway. But
Yeah.
that's just how you operate. And so therefore you continue to operate the way you would have operated had he not been one of the
Press agent. Yeah.
an
This
agent.
is a normal practice that happened. So it was easy. It was easy for her to do it because this is something that was being done.
He does on
Right.
And here's the other thing I wanna get to. So huh, she they say she prepared.
Hmm.
And I was just flawed. I was just like, what? Wait, what? 1,261 tax returns over tax years 2020 and 2021.
Height of COVID. Height of COVID.
1,200.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we'll set that there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
By herself. I mean, it's possible, don't get me wrong.
Possible.
But this is a prime example. And when I said this initially to Kerrina, her response to me was, some people are in it, are preparing returns, right? And this may not mean anything to your average taxpayer,
Hmm.
right? But as tax preparers who have to take continuing education courses, we are paying to go to conferences, we are paying to continue our certifications, we are diligent about sending each other documents and about new changes and laws. We are, we are we're hyper vigilant about what we're doing because this is what we do, and we're about more so providing value,
Hmm.
right? Making sure that you are getting the best that we can provide you with.
Hmm.
Not to say that we are don't care about getting paid. Yes, we're running businesses, we want to be paid. um but as a taxpayer,
Yeah.
what's important to you? I mean, and listen, I get it. I get it. You know the wavy signs outside, and they're like, "We can get you.
The
We can get
wavy
you."
signs,
The wavy signs outside, and they're like,
that's
"Oh, we
true.
can get you." And so they're enticing you with a little dance with the wavy man. I
Yeah.
get it. You know what I mean? But I guess based on your value, I hate to say it this way. Based on your value system, you'll end up where you end up, right? I
Hmm.
hate to say it, but it kind of turns
Get
out.
swept up and caught up though, and they don't know that these things are happening. So you got to
Okay.
ask questions, because I've had a client where he didn't tell the preparer that he had a business. He didn't tell him he had any side gigs. He only had a W-2.
I've
He
had that.
only had a
I've seen
W,
that.
and because his withholding, there was something going on with the HR system in the company or whatever, but he
Hmm.
had zero withholding. I mean zero. Nothing came out. Nothing.
Oh
Um
my God.
and he said he
Oh
filled out
my
his
God.
paperwork
That
correctly
hurts.
and all the things, right? But the tax, and this is what, like, the taxpayer thinks that they're helping the client by doing some these things. So what
A
that
tax
taxpayer
preparer.
preparer I'm
Oh,
so
okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what the tax preparer
Right.
did for that gentleman was basically, oh, you're gonna owe a lot of money. Let's say it was, I'm making it up just for numbers. Let's say they're gonna owe $8,000. You're gonna owe $8,000 because you hadn't paid taxes throughout the entire year. So I'm going to help you,
Yeah.
right, and create a business for you with a huge loss. So that $8,000 is now four. I still have to break it down. Sometimes they even take it all the way down. Like, oh yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
pay
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
thinking that's going to help the client, because you don't want to have that tough conversation that, hey, you owe this money and this is
Mm-hmm.
why.
Mm.
You
Well,
need
okay.
to fix your W-4, whatever, whatever, whatever. They file it, they pay, right? If they pay automatically, or if they have a payment plan, whatever the case is. But then the IRS gets the documents and, like, you a schedule. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
You know, and I've okay, so yeah, I guess, and it is possible to get
It's
caught up, and
possible.
it is possible to be a tax preparer. It's possible, I see what you're saying, to be a tax preparer who is genuinely trying to do what's in the best interest, or thinks that you are doing what is in the best interest of your client, and
Right.
that is your intention. So I do understand that, but going back to this
Can't do
person, um, clearly there
it.
was, the
Money
thing
was the motive.
here.
Yeah,
What
money was
money
the
would
motive.
thank you.
Money
There
was
we
the
go.
motive
Money
and the
was the
only motive.
motive.
Money was the
Money
motive
was the
in this
motive.
case.
Okay.
Money was the motive in this.
Because, money was the motive, you
Yeah.
know. And what the other thing that caught y'all don't laugh. The other thing that caught my attention was so she was she pled guilty November 22nd of 2024.
Yes.
2024.
Mhm. Yeah.
What's that, 2 days before Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Sorry. Can you and wasn't sentenced until May 8th. When I tell you
Yeah. That'd
my
be too.
heart weeps. Because can you imagine sitting there knowing,
You're waiting.
okay,
You're
baby,
waiting.
you can't eat on Thanksgiving.
You're waiting. You're waiting for all those months and then to finally get sentenced.
No, December
Yeah,
6 months, boo. The knots that must have been in the stomach. But again, money was the motivator, right?
the only motive, actually. The
Right?
only motive.
Yeah.
No, it's really sad. Like, you think it's really sad, and my heart goes out for, because especially in this situation, I don't know, it didn't say in the article or anything like that for her, but in a lot of these type of situations where the tax preparer is doing it for the money, they're charging based on a percentage of whatever you get. So it is in
Mm.
their best interest to make your refund as high as it needs to be, because they're going to charge you 10% anyway.
And so that
Which
then
is illegal. Actually, Circular 230 bounds us to not do that. We cannot legally charge by percentage because it's
unless
predatory. Well,
unless we are charging by percentage of saving you money. Say, for instance, you're under audit
oh yeah,
and they say, okay, you owe 100K, and we reduce that down to 20K. We can charge based on, then we can say
yes,
whatever I saved you,
yeah. That's
you
like
have
the
to pay
one
me a
exception.
percentage of that, right? Um, but so as a taxpayer, that's an indicator for you. If you are realizing, wait a minute, for the most part, if with clients, their information stays the same unless something changes, right?
Mhm.
So as a client, your expectation is that probably gonna be charged just a little bit more this year, possibly, maybe 25, 50, $100 more. Um, but your tax the amount, your invoice is generally in the same range.
Mhm.
Usually stays within the same range because a lot of times things don't change, right? Or it takes a second for it to change, or unless you've got some one-offs in there. Um, so I would say that that's an indicator to taxpayers. If you got to recognize that, wait a minute, my invoice, I'm being charged based on
Yeah,
what I'm receiving back. That's a very um that's an indicator
yeah,
that you may need to be more vigilant about what's happening with your tax return. Because what can happen, for instance, you mentioned that there was an individual who had a W-2 and they didn't say anything
mm,
about a business. I've had one where I saw that there were solar panels, and this individual was like, "I don't have
I don't have
solar," because when you take on a new client, you say, "Hey, can I see prior 2 years returns?" You're looking at them to compare to see what you got. You're gonna have to deal with whatever, whatnot. And there were solar panels. I was like, "Oh, you bought solar panels?" No, I
no.
didn't buy any solar panels. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, you know." So it does happen.
It's true.
Um, yeah.
And like with that same client though, he came to me the same year. So he felt something wrong with it. I don't know. Maybe he looked at it after the fact that he got his tax return and he was like, I don't have a business. I don't have anything. I don't like, okay. So I said, okay, we can do an amendment. We can fix this. We can do an amendment. And we did an amendment, and I just put his W-2 because that's
That's
all
it.
he qualified for that year. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I know that you already did the 4,000, but you have to do that additional 4,000. You have to pay the IRS, and you can do a payment plan.
Right.
That's
Because, and then the other thing is, how
yeah,
suspicious is
and
that?
like the
All of a
first
sudden, the first year you're going to owe a substantial amount. Now you have a Schedule C business. I mean, we're
yeah,
not,
I took it
um,
off, did an amendment. No, there's no Schedule C, whatever. Fixed it, and then not just fix it. It's like, hey, you need to go talk to your HR of your company and fix your W-4. Your W-4 is the reason you have no withholding, meaning that every time you get paid, there's no money going to taxes,
yeah.
which is why you had to owe this huge bill this year. Let's fix it. Like, we need to fix the problem instead of, I would argue to say like a false Schedule C with a huge loss to try to give you either a refund or a lower balance
It's a
is a
huge red
band-aid.
flag.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
And it's a red
band-aid for
flag.
a problem because it's not going to fix the real problem.
Oh, and I see where you're
Creating
going
more
with that too.
problems. It's
Exactly.
creating the problems because what happens afterwards, right? Like once again, they're thinking that they're trying to help. The client gets on the hook. Let's say he got a refund, like this $12,000 that the landscaping. You know what I'm saying? Let's say he got the refund. The IRS gave him the check and gave him the money, and then later they decide like they go through an audit. They cannot prove that they have this business, and now that $12,000 that that's already spent, they should have never got. Now
Right?
you have to
So
pay that $12,000 back with
with
interest
interest and fees
and penalties.
and penalties. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not helping the client. We're not helping our taxpayers. This is not helping the community by doing these false returns. That's why I want to make sure that like the tax preparers understand too. Like it's not helping. I mean, and then even on the other side, as taxpayers, like we're responsible for I don't remember if it's like $500, $600 per credit if we get wrong. Like
Oh,
um
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
have a penalty on our side as well. Like, you
As a
know,
tax.
as a
Mm-hmm. As
tax
a tax. Yeah.
preparer, clear that
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Yeah, as a tax
Yeah.
preparer, like, why would you risk that? Like, try to do the best that you can. You do your due diligence. Like, you ask for the documentation. Hey, what was your income? Like, if you have income, your money's coming from somewhere. Where's your money coming from? Blah, blah, blah. If you have expenses, where is it going out? We
Yeah.
need backups, receipts, something, to prove that, you're legitimately operating business.
Yeah. But see, you're talking about what we still you ultimately end up landing on, which is integrity
Oh
and
yeah,
morals and values. We're still talking about that because
that's true.
because I mean, she was gonna do what she was gonna do anyway, regardless, because that's just the modus. That's
Yeah,
I'm trying to we she's gonna
yeah,
do what she was gonna do. Here's a new opportunity to kind of take advantage of the system because they don't yet have the barriers necessary in place or any sort of regulation in
quickly.
place, which was so it's the wild wild west,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was the wild wild west. COVID was like the wild wild
Wow,
west. People
like it
were
was
like
anything,
they were
everything was going on.
it was like, hey, we're going to, so
Yeah,
if
but they
you
caught up.
if you were already someone who had no morals or integrity in the first place, you're like, oh, it is
A
fishing,
come
it's
up.
hunting season. It's
Yeah,
hunting season, right? So I mean, I told Karina I would tell her and I'm gonna try to make this really brief. When I got out of college, one of the first preparers I worked for, one of the first firms I worked for, I was, you're out of college, you're looking to, kind of get you work, you're like, okay, here's a firm, someone recommended, I went. And um, I'm in there and I'm like, you know, because my natural disposition is that of, all right, let's get to work, people, and that was not that their values were not my values. Let's just put it like that.
Mm,
So I immediately got put in like the back room somewhere away from people.
mm,
Where I got put, right? So okay, cool. Didn't know why at the time, but anyway, one someone there was a I don't even know if I should add this particular part. One day I knew that what was occurring, that there was always a line of people waiting to get
mm.
their taxes prepared.
Wow.
And I was like, why are these people always just waiting? It was always a line. I could not wrap my mind around why there's so many people and they would wait hours. Hours. I thought it was insane. But anyway, one day a guy came in and his statement to me was, what are you doing back here in the back? I don't know how he even, I was in a back office, back room filing some work, whatever, whatnot. And I questioned myself, what am I doing here? Because I didn't, there was no, I didn't feel as though at the time I was providing value.
Mhm.
So I decided, you know what? I think today's my last day.
Mm,
Just based off of that one individual statement, something dawned on me that today's my last day.
right.
Later that week, I found out that that place was raided by
Oh
the
my.
IRS and that
Whoa.
everyone in there was taken to, yeah, they were. And
Oh
that
my
they
god.
are still there. I think one of them may still be there, but most of the, they were taken. They were
Wow.
raided. Yeah.
Oh my
And
god.
for two of them, it was their second time doing it. I found
Girl,
that out too. I was like, wait, what? How did I
like
get in here, Lord?
you would think you like I believe God brought that man to say, "Girl, get
He
out before things get worse,"
he
because
did.
I saw it coming. This
That man,
like the
it was
same
the
week.
way he looked at me and said it. He looked at me and he was like, what are you doing in here?
Mm.
Like, wait, what?
Like, what am I doing?
And he made me, I was like, what am I doing here? Because I'm not providing any value. I'm not really preparing any returns. Why am I here?
Mm. Wow,
Hmm.
that's crazy. And twice,
Rated.
like, you know what I'm saying? I was
Right.
talking like before we came on like live or whatever. I was telling the K like once the alphabet boys, like in this in this young lady's case, it was FBI and IRS. So you got the three-letter word, like FBI and IRS get on you, like they're watching you for years,
Yes.
building
Yes.
a case. Like they
Yes.
knew that young lady,
Because
like when that CI, by the time the CI came, they knew that young lady was going to do something crazy because this has been her pattern. So with your situation now, that was their second time.
apparently this and the owner, and I'm just telling the po people business, but apparently the owner was caught up in something like this before and was put away for a short period of time.
Mm.
So did you not think they would still like?
Yeah, you
But
on the
then here's my other question: how do you let this individual out and they go back? Now that's something I'm probably gonna have to research at a later
yeah.
date. But like, how do you get back out and you're back to preparing taxes? I don't know how that works.
I don't know either.
I didn't know you could do that.
I don't know either. I guess we'll have to see. I'm like, maybe that's the next story, but we'll have to see like
Yeah.
what what was the reason, like why did he go in the first place, and what was the reason for him to come out only on a couple of years and being able to do tax return, or or maybe he was
Mm.
suspended and using a different P10 and all of that too. Because remember, there's that. There's a lot of the ghost preparers. They're not even maybe not even putting
They're
P10
using someone
on anymore,
else's.
using someone else's, or saying that the tax preparers that he did tax returns he did prepare were self prepared. So it could have been one of those situations.
Ooh, I didn't
So
even think of that part.
that's what I'm thinking. That it's probably one of those situations, either using a false P10, somebody else's,
Mm,
or not even putting a P10 at all and saying, "Oh yeah, they prepared it themselves." The
I didn't even
taxpayer.
think about that.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
could be that's
Mm. But still, I'd be like, no,
that's
because
crazy.
I mean, you couldn't tell me that they after the first time that they were not still watching me. I'd be looking over my shoulders. I'd be like, oh no, no, no. I am not doing nothing, sweetheart. I just got by, I just skirted by whether he
Yeah,
was 2 years. I'm not quite sure how long he, was there, but you know, um, and so that's even now that you say that, that is even a warning to tax preparers.
mhm.
Check your PTIN, right?
Oh
Because
yes,
you know how many, we have the ability to go into the IRS's system and see how many tax returns we prepared, how many
mhm.
tax returns went through their system with our number on it.
Right.
So every one of us has a number. And so
Mhm.
check and see. If you check and you're like, I know I only did 500 returns in
Right.
2024, but it says 1,261 returns.
There's some
Something's
fraud
not
happening.
right.
There's some
Somebody's
fraud.
got your number.
Right.
You might want to take a look at that. And so that's even a trumpet call to tax preparers, to
Right.
check on that stuff. Um, but I think overall, if you've got uh propensity, or if it's in you to do this stuff, you're just gonna
Yeah.
it's
You
gonna
need to do it. And you're gonna find a like in that case, right? Like if it was a situation where he used either another P10 or started to do like self-repair things. If it's in you, you're gonna find another way to get through, in a different you're gonna circumvent the process the best way you know how, because once again,
yeah,
money is the only motive. You don't care about the people that are coming in.
yeah,
You see dollar signs of how much money you can get out. So whatever you're going to do, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
yeah,
quick, it's easy, it's January through April, especially when you're promising people a certain level of refund that they may not qualify for. People are going to flock over because they all want money too. You know what I'm
hmm,
saying? Like
I get,
feeling
yeah,
like,
and you
oh
get
yeah,
it.
money, and you know what I'm saying? Like and times are hard, especially during the like I don't know if yours was during the pandemic time, but like especially during the pandemic time with this young lady, like people are losing their jobs. Like it was a crazy time.
So they're looking for,
They want
yeah,
the money. Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They're losing their
Mm.
jobs. People are getting sick. People are dying,
That's
right?
oh,
Not
that's
even like
true.
dying, and a lot of times this is a whole other conversation within itself. Are dying and didn't prepare for that level of death. Nobody has a life insurance policy.
Hmm.
They're waiting for this refund.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna tell me, oh yeah, like oh I'm gonna get this tax
Then
refund
that's
or
who I'm gonna
whatever,
go with.
I'm gonna go with that person.
That's who I'm gonna go with. And as I mean, and I guess it comes with the territory, Yeah, that's who you're gonna go with.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
as tax preparers who, because I've had people say, "Oh no, I'm not coming to you." I understand. I mean, because I
yeah,
can't
exactly.
help you. I don't know what to
Right.
do.
I can't help you in the
What
way that you want to
I'm
be
trying
helped.
to do. You know what I mean? No, no.
Right.
Like,
Or
so
they
I,
compare.
I,
Oh, how come I know all my friends are getting these large exorbitant amount of refund? How come every year I don't? Why is my refund only this amount? Or I don't get a refund. Let's have that conversation. One, you and your friends are not the same. That's number one. You
right,
and your friends are not
exactly.
the same. Even if you are both single, it still they could be single with children and you don't
Yeah.
have any children. They can be single and have one job that pays $30,000. Your one job pays you 80. Your situations and your scenarios are not the same.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
your refund will not be reflective of the same.
Mhm.
Everyone's story is different. So how can their refund be exactly the same amount? It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So you're counting things unless you guys have the exact same income, exact same life, exact same house, exact same thing.
Right. Exactly. It's
Which,
just.
come on, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Well, I think overall, then, Karina, with then if there's advice, and for this particular, then for this scenario, for me, and I'll open up the floor to you. I'd
Mhm.
say for the taxpayer, um, you know, be more vigilant about your returns. Again, that, kind of just be aware that there could be consequences, and are you ready to deal with those consequences? And I guess that is actually my advice for across the board.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know, um, Across the board, for the taxpayer and the tax preparer, that there could be consequences. And
right.
so that is mine for across the board. So I'll let you, tell them what your advice is.
And I guess for tax pre payers, it's continue to ask questions, be inquisitive. Like you're signing this document, meaning that you agree with whatever is put on there. Have a review. Hey, such and such, I would like to review my tax return. And if they don't
Right.
want to review it with you, that could be a red flag. If they don't want to have answer the questions that you're asking, that could also be a red flag. Don't sign it. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? If something feels, because there'll be time, if something feels wrong or too good to be true, it usually is.
Yeah.
It usually is. If you like Nikkei was saying earlier, if on a normal day basis you have the same life, nothing has changed, and historically your refunds are only 2,000, why is this year 12?
Unless you've done something different, maybe
Yeah, if
history
you've done unless
withholdings
you've
or
done
something
something
like that.
different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you've done the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Like use like your common sense and the sense that, God has given you and trust that intuition when it's here. Like, so all of those things, if it's a situation where it's a fee, not a fee base, sorry, a percentage base. Oh, yeah. Depending on whatever your refund is, I'm going to take a 30%, 10%, whatever. That might also be a red flag as well.
Yeah.
So all of those things to
Mhm.
look into and, continue to ask, but be inquisitive about your tax return. It is your business. It is your life. It is your personal return.
Yeah. 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 So, I'm gonna go ahead and, unless Karina, you got anything else to add, I'm gonna go ahead and close us out here. We just found, again, it's Financial Fraud Friday, so we found this one interesting, and it kind of, they and they're not ashamed to put you on blast, okay, honey? They'll put you all your little business.
They will.
So and so, 34 of Macon, Georgia. Oh my God. Whew, no,
Yeah.
um, because and probably to make an example out of you, to scare the
Yeah.
crap out of
It
us.
now becomes like this is
Definitely to
government
scare the crap
business.
out of us.
Yeah, it's government business now. Like you defrauded the government out of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it is the government's business to make sure that you pay for something like that. Even if you can't pay like monetarily, you're gonna pay with
Hmm.
your life.
Hmm.
Like
Ooh.
like basically you're gonna pay with
Oh,
your
my
life.
good life?
You're
No,
the good life.
absolutely not.
You don't want to.
No.
Like that's something that's precious. Your time, like now that young lady has to spend her time 8 years in federal prison. And then after those 8 years, she then has 5 years of supervised release. So she's released at 8 years, 5 years of they're still watching her. It's supervised.
Mm-mm.
Your life is no longer yours.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
It is
mm-mm.
federal business. So now they can put, because you've compromised federal business, they can put your information out and it's public knowledge.
I
Like
feel, yeah.
everything that is done in the dark comes to light. This is
Ooh,
it may take 2020, 2021 is when it happened, and 2025 is when she feels the brunt of the of this.
yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, it's yeah,
Yeah. So you know, I get it, but I
yeah,
still feel for people. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
like, oh gosh, that's
It's sad.
awful. Um, you still feel for people.
It's sad. It's sad.
You guys,
Right.
thank you
But
guys so much for, hey,
yes,
I'm
answer
sorry.
the question in the comments. Like, ask any questions. If
Ah,
you heard
yeah,
about
for
something
sure.
in like fraud related that you want us to talk about, put it in the comments and we'll respond.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And if you need any assistance, please feel free to reach out to us. If you've got like old returns, maybe returns that you may have questions about and you'd like
Mhm.
us to review them, take a look at them, please feel free to reach out to either Karina or myself. You can reach her at KAKE Financial. You can reach me at Togba and Associates.
Yeah.
Um, or send us email messages. Visit our websites and send us email messages. We're here every 2 weeks with a new story and some new commentary and our good opinions. Um, and, we thank you for hanging out. Again, if you do have any questions, if there's anything you'd like us to cover, leave it in the comments. And we will see you guys in the next 2 weeks. All right.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.